Bruce Shapiro, president of Mine Africa Incorporated, joins us now to put South Africa's mining sector up for review from a foreign investment perspective. Thanks so much, Bruce, for joining us this afternoon. Well, Bruce, we're going to go through some of the issues doing their rounds around South Africa's mining sector today, getting your view on the headline issues and how you see that impacting foreign investment. Nationalization and the threat of that coming to the fore here in South Africa seems to be one of the boldest headlines that's catching attention at the moment. To what extent is South Africa going down this route a very real possibility for you right now?
The problem is it's not what I think, it's what the investment community thinks. And I think the question is that the government has said there will be no nationalization, and that's very nice, but that nobody has laid down why. What are the mechanisms that are going to stop that? You have a review coming up in 2012. It's a national policy. Who knows what's going to happen there? So, in my opinion, it's probably the single most damaging current issue. I mean, there are other issues. I mean, obviously, there's typical crime, right, and corruption. In fact, while I was thinking about this, I decided the solution for South Africa was the CCM solution. Crime, corruption, and dilemma.
Well, very interesting perspective there, but let's take a look at some of the recommendations then, you know, being put on the table for South Africa to effectively manage these relationships it currently enjoys with foreign investors in the sector and balance that with safeguarding national interests, so they call it, which has become somewhat of an African theme of late. I mean, from what you've said, it seems that communicating and being explicit about what steps and mechanisms are going to be put in place moving forward is the key ingredient here.
Absolutely, because without that, it's simply words. And, you know, one listens to politicians and one sees what happens down the road. You know?
Exactly.
The bottom line is, if they want investors' attention, there needs to be the reason why there will not be nationalization. What are the things that are going to stop that?
Exactly. Well, that is one concern, and it's for now lingering back of investors' mind. What is very real at the moment already is the cost of mining here, where miners have to go deeper, where safety has become paramount as a result of that, you know, increasing that cost base, and where labor issues stand front of mind as well because of our socio-economic context. How are players looking to come in viewing this, you know, and the cost at which they're reaping the rewards?
I think I'm not sure how to answer that question, but I think at the end of the day, when somebody makes an investment, it's based on an ROI. Now, you have the Black Economic Empowerment movement. It has not perhaps been as successful as it should have been, but there is a limitation to what people are prepared to pay and accept as a cost of operation. Obviously, costs are all of those factors infect investment. I guess one of the ways around is to perhaps let the rand devalue a little bit. That might might assist.
Let's get your perspective on that currency, because it is a very topical issue right now. I mean, we have many views out there on whether the rand is too strong at the moment. Is the fact that we do have a stronger rand being viewed as a negative or positive for the foreign investor coming in?
Well, I think that from the operational standpoint, a lower value is better. So if from an operational standpoint, it must be that there should be a lower value, because that's where your ROI comes in. But I think you need to clean up the other things before you talk about that. Labor unrest is always a big problem, right, in any market, and it needs to be dealt with somehow. I don't know if I have the solutions, but it certainly needs to be dealt with, because no operator wants to face uncertainty, no investor wants to face uncertainty.
With that coming to the fore, I mean, what's your perspective on mining regulation? We've had just last week, you know, government deciding, or regulation out there deciding on mining methods, board and pillar mining. You know, that's a new directive that's being put out there. How are investors viewing the way mining regulations being dealt with, whether you be an investor already operating in the mining space or a new investor coming in?
I think safety is one of the issues that is paramount in mining, and South Africa's record, unfortunately, isn't great. So I think that as long as they are intelligent regulations, not regulations for regulation's sake, I think that they would be positively accepted, because nobody wants to operate in an environment that's unsafe, right? But you need to make sure that what you're doing is the right approach for that, not one blanket sort of, you do this.
Well, overall, it seems that the investment community looking into South Africa's mining sector very positive about the prospects. It's just clear guidelines, clear directives, clear communication that is necessary to kind of stimulate this, and that South Africa can leverage off moving forward.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, Bruce, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.